The wind howled through the towering pines as Daniel pulled his rental car into the dimly lit parking lot of the Stanley Hotel. His camera gear sat in the back seat. Untouched, his hands gripping the steering wheel a little too tightly. He had spent years chasing stories of the paranormal, but tonight something felt different. The moment he stepped inside, a strange chill ran through his body. The old wooden floors creaked beneath his boots and the grand chandelier above flickered ominously. Room 217 awaited him. The infamous room where Stephen King had his terrifying inspiration. As he unlocked the door, an overwhelming scent of lilacs filled the air. He took a cautious step forward, his breath hitching as the door slammed shut behind him. His camera flickered on by itself, capturing a shadowy figure standing by the window. It turned in an instant, but nothing was there. That night, whispers echoed from the walls, sheets rustled without a breeze, and unseen hands tugged at his blanket. By dawn, he fled, never looking back. Determined to shake off his fear, Daniel headed west to the Hotel del Coronado. The golden California sun did little to ease the unease clinging to him. The hotel was beautiful, a Victorian masterpiece by the sea, but its halls held secrets. Kate Morgan had died here alone and waiting for someone who never came. Daniel booked the very room where she had taken her last breath. He set up his recorder and asked a simple question. "Kate, are you here?" The response was immediate. A soft sigh floated through the air, followed by a faint knock at the door. When he opened it, no one was there. The lights flickered violently, and in the mirror behind him, he saw her. A woman in a black dress, her sorrowful eyes locked onto his. The air turned suffocating, and the recorder in his hand burned ice cold. He bolted from the room, heart hammering in his chest. Shaken but resolute, he arrived at the Congress Plaza Hotel in Chicago. The moment he crossed the threshold, an overwhelming sense of dread washed over him. The stories of this place were infamous. Spirits of gangsters, of lost souls, of something much darker. In the depths of the night, he roamed the hallways, recording every sound, every flicker of movement. A door at the end of the corridor opened on its own. Shadow darted past him, whispering in a language he didn't understand. The walls seemed to pulse the air, thick with something ancient. He entered an empty ballroom where the sound of laughter and music from another time filled his ears. Then silence. A voice rasped right behind him. "You shouldn't be here." He turned and saw nothing but his reflection in the grand mirror. Yet his reflection smiled when he did not. Panic set in, but he pushed forward to the Queen Mary in Long Beach. The ship turned, hotel loomed like a ghost on the water. The engine room where a young crewman had met his fate called to him. The moment he stepped inside, the temperature dropped. The sound of footsteps echoed around him, heavy and deliberate. Then he saw it, a misty figure in an old sailor's uniform walking towards him. The lights flickered, and his breath came out in clouds. The sailor's face twisted in agony before vanishing into the steel walls. A child's giggle rang out from behind him, followed by the clatter of unseen hands running along the metal railing. He stumbled backward, desperate to leave, but the doors would not budge. Only when the laughter faded did they finally creak open, allowing him to escape. His final stop was the Crescent Hotel, a place once meant to heal but turned into something sinister under Dr. Norman Baker. The air was heavy with pain and fear. He walked the darkened halls where the spirits of tormented patients still roamed. In the basement, once a morgue, the air turned suffocating. His camera froze, capturing the figure of a doctor in a white coat standing in the shadows. A whisper brushed against his ear. "You're next." The door behind him slammed shut, the lights sputtered out, and the cold fingers of something unseen gripped his arm. The last thing he saw was the pale face of a man staring at him from the darkness. His eyes empty, his mouth stretching into a slow, knowing grin. Daniel woke up in his car miles away from the hotel, the memory of the last night, hazy yet terrifyingly real. His camera was missing, his phone shattered. He never spoke of what truly happened in that basement. But he knew one thing. Some places are never meant to be visited. Some spirits never let you leave.